All right, I call this April 8th, 2025 Giles County School Board Work Session to order. Dr. Argaz.
Thanks, sir. Good morning. Just to provide some updates, construction updates. Macy, progress continues to be made there. They're really looking forward to June 2nd to get a hold of the building, and nobody's gonna be in there, that way they can start going to town, doing a lot more work. But they've been trying to do some preparation for that. They've been setting curbs up on the roof, put the gas lines been installed up on the roof. They're probably gonna start cutting there in between the cafeteria and that back entrance where it goes into the mechanical room. They're gonna probably start working on cutting the gas line, replace it right there. They gotta dig it up, so they'll probably start working on that here in the next 2 weeks, I think. So they're still working hard and trying to get things taken care of there and keep moving that forward. On March 19th, we have a pre-construction meeting with K&A for Giles High School. It was a good meeting. April 1st, we held our pre-construction meeting for Narrows High School with R.L. Price and at Eastern with Swope. Each one of those are gonna have a little different way that they're gonna deal with the construction, but I believe they're gonna, K&A and R.L. Price they're gonna probably focus on the front entrances at both high schools come June 2nd. You're gonna see them they're gonna get access to the buildings a little bit earlier to get in the gyms, to take out the bleachers for both high schools towards the end of May 20th, May 12th, something like that. So they can get the bleachers out. That way the gym floors can be taken down, bare wood, repainted, resealed, and that the seal is cured and in good shape, good enough shape that they need to put a cover on it and they can start doing work up on the roof of the gym. We don't want them on the roof before that floor cures, because it doesn't, then it's stuff dirt down in there and we're back to the same problems. They're anxious and they're ready. They're looking forward to getting started. I'm sure we'll have another meeting before we get into May, too far to have a conversation about, okay, here's where they're gonna go, here's what they're bringing in their Connex boxes and that sort of stuff for a set down area and that sort of stuff. So that's all in plans. We'll talk about bleachers. Bring it up. We have been approached from community organizations on the bleachers at the two high schools. When they're removed, they would like to have them. So we're checking now to see what legality there is for us to just say, hey, we can surplus them, they're yours. What legality that falls on us, so we're in the process of checking on that, and I'll let you know that as soon as I hear something back. Narrows Elementary Middle School bids were opened on March 20th. I anticipate, we've not gotten an email back from ZMM saying here's who they recommend, but I'm anticipating that the low bid will be $1,885,000 for that project. That's safe school entrance, elevator refurbishment, and window replacement. Want you to keep in mind, I know you may be thinking that's not what we had projected before. What we had before in the cost estimate was only the safe school entrance and the elevator refurbishment. We did not have window replacement in it. So $675,000 that we had projected was only the safe school entrance and the elevator refurbishment. So we did include window replacement to get those windows upgraded and removed. SCAP, School Construction Assistance Program. They do have another round. It's open now and available. We can only apply for one project. So we anticipate that we will apply again for Eastern, to see, what we're able to get there. Again, keep in mind, Eastern is a safe school entrance, roof replacement, and HVAC replacement. So we will submit that. That is due by April 18th. So we will work on that this week and first part of next week and get that submitted before we leave for Easter break. Just to see if we're able to get some additional funding out of that program. And Macy Phase 2, we anticipate that going out to bid the first part of May. That's what we're hearing from ZMM. Questions on renovations? Did I miss something that we need to add? I didn't. Okay. Any questions? Keep in mind that, please, when they start work on the two high schools particularly, but Eastern with the safe school entrance, and there's elementary with the safe school entrance, it's going to disrupt the flow of entering the buildings for a while. So I just want to make sure we point that out. We realize the contractor's gonna have to do set up some sort of temporary emergency exit or whatever, ADA access as well, particularly at Nares Elementary. But we'll continue to work through those as well. But it will be some changes of how you enter the buildings there at those facilities for the foreseeable future.
Make sure when we know, just we get that communicated out to Nares. But yeah. First day of school will be fun this year. I guess probably get the school resource officers if we need to get any of the law enforcement involved, if we're gonna be traffic changes or that.
Budget update. I was hoping that we'd have more to report to you, but as you know, and I'm sure you've read, General Assembly reconvened last Wednesday, I guess it was the 2nd. There was a one-day reconvened session. They considered the amendments accepted from the governor's budget. What they did was they asked for it to basically be passed by for the day. And what that means is that the budget bill goes back to the governor unchanged, meaning it continues to contains the original full funding of the support cap that we talked about a couple meetings ago. So right now, governor has until May 2nd to accept it, veto part of it, whatever. So we're right now, I guess, in the wait and see what happens exactly, because I don't know what else until we know for sure that's what it's going to be or it's going to change. Based also on what I've read, it appears that the bonus is still included there as well. So just need to keep that in mind.
If we could get David to send us a breakdown of kind of where we stand funds wise for the year, just so see what's gonna look like, you know, depending on what period potentially could be, and then, you know, what some of these things are that we discussed, and funding those things out of this year's budget, what may not have been allocated for, including those bonuses. That way, just, we'll try to have conversations and stay abreast of some moving targets, because if the governor's provision, if his budget comes back, and eventually pass, then we have some more discussion. But
We'll have to have some more conversation if that's passed. Yeah, I'll ask Dave to put something together, send to you, and see where we stand currently from the beginning of the year till now, and get some of these things we've talked about, buses and cetera, playground equipment, that sort of stuff. School nutrition.
School nutrition, provided you, our financial update. We have David's report, Katrina's cafeteria tracker. I'll let you review that data. It looks like our participation has gone up a little bit at all of our schools. That's a positive indication. And I'm referring to David's, cafe review, overview. As you can see, all but one school had a profitable month for March. 4 out of 5 schools showed a gain compared to monthly costs. We have more serving days this month. Participation still again went up. You can see where we're at financially in the bottom right-hand corner. And we continue to march on. One of the things that I've been working on is trying to secure additional USDA commodities. I've been in talk with our regional manager, and I'll let her know that we'll take any extra USDA commodity that she has available. And so far, she has been offering us a lot of product. The one thing we are kind of limited on right now is freezer space. Our county freezer is full. It's being utilized by the county for our Meals on Wheels program. And our local freezers at our schools are at capacity, so I'm a little bit of a quandary. I've got products sitting in PFG right now in storage that I need to get up here somehow. One of the ways that I'm hoping we can alleviate some freezer space is for the March or May menu. I want to utilize as much USDA product as we can. I got all the dry, what I call dry or canned goods shipped, and you have the capacity to store that. Still working on the freezer part of it right now. So hopefully May will be a little bit of a different menu set. We'll be eating a lot of good hamburger and a lot of good chicken and a lot of good USDA product to try to dwindle that down. One of the things too that we're going to have to do, Macy, over spring break, they will be doing the electrical switchover, which means I will have to transfer all refrigerated and frozen product out of that school and store it at Eastern. I have the most capacity to temporarily store the product at Eastern right now, so it'll have to be moved out. I've talked to Father Fisher about that. So they'll actually start, I want them to start moving it on the 16th to have it ready. Both Ariel Price and Bobby are aware that I have to have the product back the Wednesday we come back. That might happen early. It's dependent on what APCO. It's pretty much, I think the contractor will get their part done. It's going to be dependent on what APCO does, but there's no ifs, ands, or buts. We got to have it ready by the Wednesday we come back. So, and I made that Ariel Price aware of that. Summer food continue to hold discussions with Virginia Tech. We are actually up to 140 people now. That's a rise of 5 from our last meeting. I have reached out to our local DSS office, Sherry Dipper Williams, and asked her to get the word out on that. Virginia Tech was supposed to, and hopefully I need to call and re-verify that, send us some information on the program. I did provide them a detailed map of the delivery locations. Actually figured out how to put that in a Google map form. I shared that with Virginia Tech, so they now have information of the clusters, so to speak, of where the households are. Right now, the clusters are looking like it's in the central part of the central district and the central part of the western district. When you get into the eastern district, it's a little bit more spread out. It's a few homes out Whitegate and so forth. So need to work on some potential. We've had preliminary discussions on delivery sites, but right now, what I'm still hearing is they're going to do everything they can to make home deliveries, meaning they will take it to the homes. And what I suggested was, you know, if you're not able to deliver it to a home, you need to have a central location to let families come after work and pick up the meals, and they agreed to that. So we're identifying, or they're identifying where those sites might be. Does anybody have any questions on school nutrition or where we're at? Our cafeterias continue to work hard. They're trying, they're doing their very best. The one thing I will tell you is that we are running low on DoD produce money. We've about exhausted that fund right now. We actually increased that fund this year to $60,000, and we have almost utilized all that. So I have requested that the managers only order necessary produce through DoD, because if not, we have to order from PFG, and it's, you know, it's a healthy cost when you start ordering it from your food service provider. So they're apples, lettuce, things like that. They're ordering things that everyday commodities that we can utilize to save as much money as we possibly can. Any questions?
And Arizona, you understand that $20,000 profit center, how do they pull that off?
Well, you gotta remember, that's, you know, if you look at one report, it shows a $10,000 profit. If you look at another, if you look at the one behind it, so, you know, it's in the middle somewhere, because Katrina's is a month behind, David's is more of a snapshot of the actual month. You know, Ms. Kent, I'll give a shout out to Ms. Kent, she does a fantastic job, and Mr. Gautier, I'll give a shout out to him. They do try to involve everybody and get participation as high as possible. But I will say that I'm very proud of our schools, school nutrition managers and our principals. They've worked very hard to get the participation up at the March. At our ADM, we've had discussions about, you know, continued discussions about participation, and hopefully we'll see that continue to rise in April and especially May. I will tell you the one thing that will, I don't know, that'll hurt us or help us. Usually we have 7 days in June that we serve. We won't have that this year, so that's about a $7,000 difference. I talked to David the other day. We usually see about $7,000 in reimbursements that we won't see for June, but we're hoping we can really hit it hard in May. So, and again, utilize our USDA product. My goal is to keep costs down with PFG as much as we possibly can. I will tell you as well, we had our Region 7 meeting with school nutrition managers, and I will tell you in Region 7, they are experiencing the same thing that we are. There is a lot of school divisions voicing concern about profitability and the just overall cost of everything. So it was a little shocking to hear some of the school nutrition managers at other school divisions discussing their plights as well. And a lot of these schools are CEP schools as well as we are. The one good thing, I did not have to do an excessive balance spend down plan this year. The information I got from the VDOE that we were good. We were making progress on our funds, and they were happy. They actually were referencing the 22-23 report, but I got the green light I didn't have to provide one this year to continue going and doing what we were doing, and they were happy with where we were at financially as far as our excess balance. So I will caution you as well. I will have to buy 2 new pieces of equipment this year. I'll have to buy a new oven at Giles. We continue to have issues out of that oven. I've had the repair person up there quite a few times and it's on its last legs. We have what you call a steam kettle at Macy. I think it was installed in the 50s or 60s. It is just, you can't even buy parts for it anymore, and it's become a safety hazard with steam release, so I've actually discontinued them using that. I will probably replace that with a tilt skillet. Now, I will tell you, both pieces of equipment usually run between $20,000 and $25,000 a piece. So I will have to put out I'll have to get 3 competitive bids on that, and I'll probably have to have that installed. We're gonna live long until this summer, but I'll have to have that installed this summer. And we could use some new milk coolers, one additional milk cooler at Macy, but we've been making it with one. We'll continue with that, but I will have to expend $50,000 probably in new equipment for this summer. Any questions?
Is there, these costs, is there any salaries included in this?
Sir?
Are salaries included in these costs?
Yes.
All salaries?
So, starting this year, I asked David to, on our monthly snapshot reviews, it has insurance, VRS, and salaries in there. So yes, sir, that's all taken into account when we present these reports.
Any of yours or Katrina's in there?
Yeah, mine, Katrina's, Rachel's, everybody, yes, sir. And just FYI, I think we've covered this before, but each school has what I call an account, a running balance of funds. So these 2 pieces of equipment, one at Macy, one at Giles, will be deducted from their overall balance. I will caution you that Giles I feel good about, it's okay. Macy's overall balance is very low, very concerningly very low. So that's why we continue to work hard to boost their funds, boost their accounts, their participation. But yes, sir, Mr. Williams. VRS insurance and salaries are all accounted for in both reports.
So with this equipment purchase and then what we're tracking, what's going into next year, how much cafeteria funds do you ballpark it, do you think?
I'm hoping that red number you see on David's report, my goal, David and I talked yesterday, my goal is to decrease that by $54,000. We're hoping to get as close to zero as possible. I'm hoping to a conservative number. I'm hoping to be around 600. I'm hoping to be about where we're at right now, around the 600,000 range.
Worst case, if we stay where we are and we get that, we'll be down to 450.
No, I cannot make any promises, but my goal.
I'm just saying worst case. I want to.
Worst case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if I want to discuss a rumor I heard from the state. There is a rumor out there that they may be changing the CEP eligibility rate. But we haven't heard anything official on that. We just got a wind of that, so to speak. I will keep you up to date on that and where that comes out at. It was alarming at what percentage they wanted to raise it to. They wanted to raise it to 60, I heard 60%. We, as you know, we are at 40s, low 40s, like 41. We barely qualified for CEP. We qualify at 40% mark. So I will keep you up to date. I have not heard anything officially of VDOE. I know there was a USDA webinar with the former VDOE school nutrition director, and I believe that was discussed during that, but I'm not going to swear to that. So I have no idea how that would impact us at this point. I don't know. We've got, I believe, 2 more years of CEP eligibility under where we signed up. We can hold what we got. I think it's for another 2 years, and I'm in the process of doing our CEP renewal. We had April 1st, we had to run a, what they call a principal's report, and I had to do a report out on SEC. They gave us our Medicaid, free, SNAP, TANF, homeless and foster. So I got that report. I'm waiting for confirmation back from VDOE that they wanted to look and see if our format was correct. Our Region 7 specialist, I need to reach out to her because I think there's an April 15th deadline. I have to get that information into SNPWeb. I'm ready just to plug those numbers in. I probably want to go ahead and plug them in because they still have to approve it anyway. The only thing that it can do is help us and not hurt us because we're locked in at that one rate. But if our number goes up, we can actually renew CEP at a higher ISP rate, which our reimbursement would be a little bit higher. So I was very diligent this year about doing our CEP direct certifications. I did those every month this year, and that can only help us. When I first started back in August and September, there was a lot of matches that came up, and as I went through the months, those numbers went down, which is what you want to see as far as eligibility, folks. The one thing I'm disappointed in is they will not let us count Medicaid reduce in the information. That's like just a policy, but we had a handful of folks that I had to sort out for that. So I'm hoping, and you have to do it every year, so I'm hoping it's not going to make too much of a difference.
What about, afternoon, we serve any meals afternoons at all?
Yes, sir. We are at all of our schools. We're serving what we call afternoon suppers. I mean, it's basically a Uncrustable, a bag of chips, cheese stick, fruit, and a milk. But every school that has after school activities, you have to have actually a tutoring part to that. And right now we have that at all of our schools right now going on, as far as I know. And we are serving those after school meals to.
Is that out of the cafeteria?
Yes, sir. Well, they prepare the meals, the cafeteria prepares the meals, and then we hand those, they are handed out to individuals after school. We're serving the most of them at the high school level because we have athletes.
Yeah.
As long as you have a tutoring component or a club activity, you can serve the sport teams. So we have that at both our high schools. At the elementary middle level, you know, we have the robotics and STEM and the various clubs. I mean, we don't serve a huge number at the elementary middles, but a decent amount.
I guess some of the thing I think is, GCPS, we close to getting this contract with them or something. We got 2 months left here now. Go.
I have pressed Ron Martin, and last conversation was, hey, are we doing this? And he assured me we were. So I said, I've got to have a go, no go for my board. And he's like, yeah, we're planning to move forward.
Does he give you a cost? Is there gonna be additional cost? He gonna do it for you?
They do it for the reimbursement.
They won't bring any other funds involved for the access board?
Nope. We are, technically, we are not involved at all. It's all on Virginia Tech. They had to go through the Virginia Department of Education and file the same paperwork and do the same procedures as we had to do. We've had to do before. They will do it for the reimbursement. It's my understanding they're going to do it a little different, and I applaud them. They're actually going to. The plan is they're going to provide frozen meals. They're going to prepare them. They've purchased the equipment to prepare it, put it in a tray, freeze it. It's just like a freezer meal. You'll take it and you'll put it in the microwave and you'll heat it up. So there won't be any more 5-pound bags of potatoes and 10 gallons of milk and four loaves of bread and things like that. The students will take it. It will meet the USDA regulations for nutrition. And my understanding is they'll take it, they'll heat it up, and we'll have a meal, a nutritious meal.
It all sounds good.
Yep.
So we got a backup plan, we're sure that you must go. Okay, that's all.
School buses, put out the RFP on school buses and they are due tomorrow. So we hope to have some prices in from our vendors that we sent those to. We sent the RFP to Thomas, Bluebird, and IC. I've talked to the three vendors. As we all know, Thomas and IC do not offer a gas version of a bus right now. They will not really offer it until the 2026, I think it's 26 school year. So basically the only gas bid, engine bid we'll get back is from Bluebird. So we're hoping to get those in tomorrow, open them up and see what they come out to, and I will share that as soon as I get those and let you know. 2 out of 3 have expressed concern about being able to bill us by June. We can pay if we have a VIN number. Bluebird was hesitant, but said it was a good possibility they could have us a VIN if they were awarded the contract. Thomas, I don't know. I didn't hear from. So I'll keep you informed as far as information I receive back. It was my understanding we had to pay for them by the end of June this year for our funds, but I don't know. Thomas, I think, said that for the actual new buses, they're anticipating January 26th. Bluebird probably could get it here sooner. I haven't heard anything from it. We'll tell you another, something to factor into this is we have one bus right now that is down. We have one bus that is down right now, bus 11. And it will require $8,000 worth of repairs. The turbo blew on it. We can go into the EGR and the exhaust and things like that. So we have had conversations with Andy Perkins at the garage, and we have told him to hold on that repair. It's a 15-year-old bus with 175,000 miles. Andy and I and Dr. RBS discussed several scenarios of what ifs. Right now, we replaced that bus, that's Sherry Teets' bus. We replaced it with bus 10, which is one of our spare shorter buses. So we're good as far as covering our bus route, not utilizing a spare, so to speak. We were utilizing bus 34 as the spare. That was Bobby Buchanan's old bus. But bus 11 we had injector issues with it last year. We put $10,000 in it last year. So we got another $8,000. I don't know if it makes sense to keep throwing money at this bus, 15 years old with 175,000 miles on it. Even if we put the money into it, rotated it into a spare, I would not trust it to go outside the county, so to speak, or not too far outside the county. I wouldn't run it up and down the interstate, just from the issues we've had. So the other bus, we have another bus, route bus, that is one of our oldest buses that needs to be replaced. So even if we get 2 buses, usually what we like to do is rotate them into spares, and then take our spares and crush them. We can't surplus them, we have to crush them. So with this year, if we don't get 2 new buses, we still have these 2 on the road, but even if we get 2, we don't really have anything the 2 that we replace will probably need to be crushed. We won't be able to rotate into a spare rotation. So just keep that in mind as we move forward. I would encourage you, if at all possible, that if we can get 2 new buses this year, we desperately need them, because the conversation that we have with that is if we don't, we're gonna wind up being 4 behind. Not 2 behind, but 4 behind. And I don't want us to get into that position if at all possible. So that's all the good news I have on buses at this point.
If, again, if we get that number on carry, but I'm thinking, especially given that news, and what I was linking before is asking the county to use some of the carryover funds to buy 2 buses this year. We need to take it to them in May, but, how long are those bids?
I'd say 30 days. 30.
So that we can get, you know, if it's the consensus of the board that we wanna try to do that, then I suggest we take that to the county once we get, assuming the bids come back reasonable.
Yeah, assuming they come back reasonable, it's just the concerning part is the delivery of the buses. You know, we suffer through that. It is what it is. I know Thomas actually had some 72s on the lot, but we don't need 72s. We need some shorter ones. I mean, these routes, the ones that we want to replace and so forth and so on, they're just not maneuverable enough to turn around.
45 days.
45.
After receiving date.
Now, as far as Andy's already got the parts for bus 11, he purchased those. And I think his return window, did he say 30 days? 30 days, so he has 30 days to return those parts. We're good right now. I just don't want us to get behind in our bus replacement schedule. We've been doing really well with that through the year.
You good with that, Mr. Williams?
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't spend $8,000 on that bus.
Sir,
I wouldn't spend $8,000 on that bus.
that was our thinking as well, but we wanted to have a discussion with the board and present the information to y'all and let y'all know what we were up against and what we were thinking and move forward from there.
You're saying you return the parts, if we get really in a bind and have to fix it, we can fix it if we don't, the buses aren't delivered. You good with trying to carry over the route, we get back, so just give your all's recommendation on whether, on these bids, and then we'll have the numbers we'll talk to the county on the first Wednesday of next month.
Yes, sir. Do y'all have any other questions for me or the information that I gave you in your packet?
I did, I saw that working on the letter, an agreement or memo of understanding for the town of Nares on the speed limit signs. What is the timeline on, you think that bill, that letter will be done, so we get?
I will, that's on me.
Okay.
I will make that a priority.
Okay.
So I will move forward with that as quickly as possible. To be honest with you, I've been covered up on other things.
For sure. Yeah, I was just wondering a timeline, no rush on from.
I've had discussions with the town manager and another member of council. So I've assured them that it's not forgotten. We are working on it and we will move forward as soon as we can.
Thank you.
I'll be meeting on the 24th, one of the council members that's on these handicap parking spaces around the elementary school there. I think what would help are both of us to get something that's cost effective in my sense is to get some restriction, somewhat of traffic on Holston Street, which is the one that runs between the football field and the elementary school. It's where our main bus drop off is, and it is a town street. But if we could get some restriction there, during school hours would be great, but definitely after school, so that we could put some, if they don't meet actual ADA handicap spots, but some restricted spots for, parking, that wouldn't disrupt anything, it wouldn't, require a huge engineering, cost on either the town or our part. I think I'm hopeful of that, so.
Help me understand, sorry, I didn't follow exactly. This is a town street in between where the football field is and the elementary school.
Yeah, so if we have no driveway, all our other schools, we have a quote driveway. So in Ayers Elementary School, that block the block that it's on is completely surrounded by town streets.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people I used to think when I was a kid, that Holston Street, which is the one that runs between the football. So basically it goes, it runs down, it's between the annex too, it's that steep hill. One time, years ago, when I was in school, you had gates and I think they even closed it off at one point. I don't know what happened in the last 30 years of that, but it's, you have people driving through there. And, we have kind of a space limitation there, because if we take any space for parking is gonna come out of our, playground area. And we're limited on that as is. So there. Yeah. So yeah, if we were able to get some restriction, whether it's a special event or whether it's just restrict traffic there from 6 o'clock or 4 o'clock until midnight or something there, to where you didn't have through traffic, we could paint some parking spaces in there that would allow. Because there's really no handicap parking other than on the far side. There's handicap, we've got spaces to handle. We are ADA compliant with when the school was built. But, when there are special events there at the annex, there's no good solution because of the terrain. You're sitting there on top of that hill. Hopefully we can work something out and get those done.
One other thing, Head Start building, Eric Gentry's, he shot our benchmark down there. That was requested by the town of Nares. Dr. Arbogast and I met with Terry Nicholson on the site to discuss the location of the modular unit and the FEMA floodplain information. We will have to get ZMM to engineer the foundation for the modular. And then we only have one modular company reach back out to us, and we need to work through that and see what our options are on that, and continue to move forward on that. But
used modulars about 114,000 minimum. New modular would be somewhere around probably right at 200,000. Just a little bit over.
now, you also have to factor in the cost of the site preparation, the engineering, and all that too. So you're gonna have
That cost didn't include.
you'll have
That cost included the delivery and the blocks and that sort of stuff, but it doesn't include the engineering or anything like that.
It will probably be 7 to 8 feet out of the ground down there to meet the FEMA floodplain. We have to go off the old FEMA maps. My understanding is, and who knows when it would happen, is FEMA's going to update their maps, which means that it would come down, but it will come down in the time frame in which we need it to come down. So you're going to be about 8 feet out of the ground. So it will go, if you're familiar with the site, where Head Start parks their older buses right there, it would go in that location. I think we have to be 20 feet off the structures. Well, I think I've got it in my notes, 20 feet off of structures, 10 feet off of property lines. We met with Terry down there, so right kind of where we wanted it to go is where we can put it, so.
Just need to talk to them just about that spot. Since I can't remember the lease, it's just the building or the.
I assume it's probably the whole thing, they've got their vehicles parked there, and they probably had to use it for playground type area and that sort of stuff. So I would assume that was probably the whole thing.
You could have, it's up in there.
That's what it is.
Don't we just let them close to put it in?
Well, one of the,
I've never really seen the water go back that far, but as soon as we,
one of the
It was-
considerations,
20 years ago, 25 years ago, it was up into the foot of the stadium at Nares High School, up to the home side, up in the concrete, to the concrete bleachers. So however long ago that was, it's been a long time, it's been 20, it's probably 26, 27 years, something like that, but it's been a while. But it was, I mean, again, it was up there.
I mean, they got, I think Head Start, those buses, I think they did flood, at least they had to move them so they didn't, because they normally park them towards the duck pond right there
yeah.
on that, and they started moving them back in that thing, but,
one of the other considerations too is there's ball field right there, so you don't want to put it too far out toward the duck pond because you're gonna get, possibly gonna get pop-ups and fouls and stuff, you don't want to bang it off your roof if possible, so.
Do they play there? They
There's
usually
their-
practice
they
for.
practice for Little League, and I think softball uses it, they used it some for the years, they used it this year,
For a little bit.
softball field.
Couldn't put it for one of the parking lots and make parking down there?
I think you're gonna, I mean, you could, but I think that's not ideal for anything, because that's good, there's no side, the problem with that parking, because I walk there every morning, is there's no sidewalk running from there till past the library, so you'd be having people walking in it's a little ditch there. So,
What it is,
it is. Well, that's, I mean, that's when they did the renovations in the 90s, that's what they used, that playground area is how we got the green space to get it done too, so we should be, I mean, I think it'll be, 8 feet will be fine. And like I said, to the extent, if Eastern one, if we need, start thinking about that from that standpoint, because to me, it makes sense to offer, if we got the slots to offer it, because we're gonna end up, paying for that in remediation if we don't get these kids in a good pre-K program.
It's a big difference.
And we met with Jessica Morris to discuss that side of it as well, so operationally, I know what I need to do and she was encouraged to recruit as many as possible. I agree with Mr. Buckland, the more children we can get in preschool, the better off it's going to serve our children well. I've seen the results of it in other school divisions and it pays dividends. That is all I have right now, unless y'all have any other questions for me.
the veins, I thought we was gonna be the veins off too, we done the best.
I can put out an RFP for the vans, I'm sorry if I misunderstood.
I thought, I'm pretty sure we should, one of the babies decided to put the veins out too. That's why I think we get it on here.
Well, at the last work session, I presented information, on, we can actually buy those off a state contract. But I can also put out an RFP for those as well, and I apologize if I misunderstood and didn't get that out.
That's what I thought it was gonna be like too. I'm getting the question.
Kind of thought I thought we decided, we looked at some used pricing just to see what was out there. And then, I think we need to do two things. One, I think we still need to identify a few surplus, newer models that we can use to help fund that. And then, kind of see where this car market goes with, I don't, we've got some strange economic times going on with respect to all these things, but I think if we do dip into a recession, then that might be a good opportunity to, some of these van prices might go down.
Yeah.
And be ready to strike if we can, but I think, you know, we just need to look at if there's some opportunity, some of those vehicles that are new, that are later model vehicles that we're not using but 1,000 or 2,000 miles a year, those are good opportunities for us to.
I have had discussions with Terry Jones at the school bus garage, and he is working on a list for me to identify some vehicles that could be the older vehicles that could be surplus. The one thing is that we have to be careful of, do we rotate another vehicle back in its place? Meaning, do we take a fleet vehicle from here and rotate it back in? I know the discussion was we were not gonna raise our mileage rate until we surplus some vehicles. So it's one of those things of a delicate balance. You know, we don't wanna, even though they're older, they are to a degree being utilized, you know, not very frequently, but they're being utilized. But I do believe we can get 5 identified.
Well, and what I'm saying is, I'm fine, we've taken the depreciation hit on those older vehicles.
Yes, sir.
You know, if they're worth $2,000 and they're still good vehicles to run, we're better off keeping those rather than the ones that are 22s and 23s and 21s that still have some depreciation left in them. We can surplus those out. You know, you do 3 of them, you get $20,000. You know, if we package it with the county when they do their surplus auction that they do every year with Lincoln's River, they have to do that. You know, that could buy a van.
So what I'm hearing you say is that we would actually surplus some of our newer vehicles?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I mean, we anything that is less than 5 years old, we still have, there's some depreciation that we can recapture out of it. You know, if they're mechanically fine, the other vehicles, I think they'll be all right. But if we got, you know, some of these Focuses or Escapes that are newer models, you know, I'd rather us keep some of the older stuff that are 2010 to 15 that run well, because again, there's nothing that we can lose on that. But every day now if we got a vehicle that we're getting 2,000 miles a year and we're losing $7,000 in depreciation, that's huge on depreciation mileage.
I was going the other way. I was looking at our older vehicles, the ones that were being driven 2,000 miles and so forth. I will take it. I will.
Well, and there's some,
that.
I think there's a wide range. If I looked at it correctly, I mean, we've got some vehicles that are newer vehicles that are getting 2,000 miles.
Yes.
On them.
We'll look at those. We'll look at the newer vehicles that are getting to.
It's a good vehicle, by they took one at Eastern, we gave it to the county, did one.
Yes, sir.
Did you put something else back after that?
No, sir, we did not. They have 3 vehicles out there to use. That vehicle is actually being utilized by a county, by the janitor out there to go and get the mail. Bobby has a old maintenance truck. Well, it's not old, I mean, it's mechanically sound. It's a maintenance truck that he can utilize to run his errands if need be, but no, he did not replace it with a vehicle out there.
I didn't know we kicked the car away, brother.
Well, there's actually 3 that sit out there.
I took it away,
Well, there's 3 that sit there that can be utilized, and that was the 4th one. I didn't, lack of a better word, I didn't feel the need to replace it.
If you got 3 out there, 3 that you use. How come they don't, this stuff's mail to get delivered? They're out there every day.
I don't. Now, I say that, I mean, that's what I've heard, I haven't verified that, so
What is the mail problem?
Oh, they have it delivered, they won't get it every day, drive the member and get the mail. So that's when they get the
don't
mail.
quote me on that, that's what I heard, I haven't verified that, so.
Okay. The
Yeah, there's
school
something-
mail?
Yeah.
The school mail, somebody's leaving
And that's
it.
mail, yeah. It's going to post office, I'm pretty sure it goes down post office. Gets it. There's a
That's what I heard, I haven't verified
That'd be the way
that.
to go. Which I know some of them's gonna go to the bank too. do some stuff. Look, just wanna make sure they had something out there. I didn't heard, he's far away from it.
One other item that I think he has on there, on that list, that I had later on my agenda to talk about, you can see there the remote, access medical clinic. We were contacted, a month or two ago, about this opportunity. This is a fully encompassed medical, dental, vision, program for our community. They wanna bring it in, the vision, they're gonna even make glasses on site during that time. They wanna come in on November 15th and 16th, that's a Saturday and a Sunday. They would be open from 4 a.m. to 8 p.m. both days. They'll need Friday to start setting up. They have completed the facilities use form, and will provide an updated copy of insurance when the time comes. We've got some work based on the visit. They went out there last Friday to look at the site. They're gonna need to use the gym, the auditorium, the cafeteria, band, choir, and maybe a couple classrooms to do this. So they'll need some work on our end to make sure they've got some power hookups and that sort of stuff. But it sounds like a great opportunity for our community and other communities, because I think it's open to anybody. They'll see children, adults, elderly, they'll see whoever, based on what was shared with us. So wanted you to be aware. If you've got concerns, please let us know, so we can get those addressed.
I think that's excellent.
Who
runs that?
It's RAM, actually, I have it, the name it's RAM, Remote Access Medical Program.
So that's actually the name, it's like a nonprofit or something.
I understand it's a nonprofit.
Okay.
They can serve folks from West Virginia, it's open to anybody.
Regardless of insurance.
Yeah.
Excellent.
It looks like it's the Remote Area Medical Volunteer Corps. It's the insignia that they have celebrating 40 years of health, hope, and humanity. So,
I believe they reviewed several sites in Montgomery County. Ours, and they chose ours.
And they landed on us, that's awesome. Sort of the greatest need.
so, if you have any concerns, please let us know. Otherwise, this information, Jesse has been working with them, sending it out to both the administration of Giles High School, Mike and myself, keep us updated as they're moving along. Sent you information, an email last week regarding a proposal that Ms. Mustang and I received from our elementary principals regarding kindergarten and doing a staggering start the first week of school. Again, this is only just kindergarten students that first week. Similar to what what preschool does currently. Students would be split. You can split them however you wanted, but just lack of better term, A through M would come 2 days, N through Z would come 2 days, so A through M would come Monday, Wednesday, N through Z come Tuesday, Thursday. It would provide the teachers the opportunity to do some assessments that some of these kids, because they've not seen them or met them, they may meet them at the kindergarten registrations that are starting today. They may not. They may not come in and register until over the summertime, so it provides that opportunity. It will also provide them the opportunity to observe interactions, provide the kids the opportunity to begin learning routines and that sort of thing. Friday of that week would provide the administrator and teachers the opportunity to put kids in home rooms, contact the parents and say, here's who your teacher is, etc. Provide information, provide the teachers the opportunity to get the classroom ready. Monday, everybody will come to school the following week.
So you did get the request from all three principals. All three principals support this idea, because I have only talked to a couple of the teachers to get their insights.
What was shared with us is this is supported by all three administrators at all three schools, and it was supported by the kindergarten teachers, is what we were told.
What are the impacts to transportation? Or would the communication be parents are responsible for that week? You know what I'm saying? Because if we do stagger these kids, because I'm for a slow start. 100% the reasons, the validation, all of that makes perfect sense to me. I just want to know what our implications are from a transportation perspective.
We're gonna run the buses.
It's gonna be a regular school day.
So
it's
just,
gonna be a
it
regular
doesn't,
school
it's
day.
not,
You're just not gonna have, instead of Monday having all
There'll just be
60
fewer on the
kindergarten
buses.
kids coming, Monday you'll have 30 coming, Tuesday you'll have 30 coming, Wednesday you'll have 30, Thursday you'll have 30, and then the week after you'll have all 60 of them spread out on the buses, right? That's just a number that
nothing's gonna change with transportation for that.
shouldn't change. If the board's comfortable with it, the plan was for them to start sharing this at the kindergarten registrations, but Nares Elementary will have to circle back to that and try and do some communicating. They'll meet during the back to school week, open house, share information with all three kindergarten teachers, with all the kindergarten kids, say here's what we're doing, here we're gonna do it. Well,
Yeah, the only concern I have, and again, I just don't wanna put the burden back on the parents, is that as long as we can tell them as early as open house which days their kids will come on, so that they can make childcare arrangements for those other days, because we don't have a lot of local daycares, and they have to be staffed. If, they're gonna have 5 extra kids there on Tuesday and Thursday, because they can't go to Macy or Nares or Eastern yet, I just wanna make sure that, firm up the plans super early, so that they can tell them exactly which day, so that they have months to plan, or talk to their daycare providers, or make work arrangements to be off on those days to keep their kids at home who aren't on their go days. I love this idea.
I spoke with several teachers also, and especially I was talking to a lot of them at Eastern, and I actually had one of them send me like email stuff, and I completely understand. I love the staggered date, we're probably gonna get a lot of backlash about not having a list, being out there, so as long as they can communicate that well. I did like a lot of their ideas of, typically we have open house, all day, correct? And people just come and go. So, letting them maybe have kindergarten open house from 5 to 6 o'clock. And then parents come into the cafeteria maybe and talk about it, and then go see the potential of the different classrooms. I think it's gonna be a big communication thing. And there was some concern about kindergarten is the most prep work. Getting ready for the labeling, if a lot of that could be done ahead of time. And then you just don't label everything until you make that decision, which I feel sure that most of the elementary schools have good communications with their preschool. So in the back of their mind, I feel like they're getting ideas, but I think this was just generated because we have several kindergarten classes that are getting the majority of, different. And I think a lot of it comes back to asking for certain teachers. I think that is where a lot of the problem, and I get that as a parent, that you want that teacher that you had or somebody in your family had. And I do think probably at schools, does that happen a lot?
Not all of them take teacher requests, but some of them do.
I think that's almost gonna have to stop, is that correct?
There won't be yes.
Yes, and I think to make it work, it's gonna have to be like that, if the teachers are gonna be able to look look at their kids, and like I said, I know they'll get the input from their preschool, you know, because you have a lot. I know they already do that, the same as they do when they leave kindergarten and going to, you know, because they learn their kids, I get that, but, you know, I just want parents just to be patient with us and not get upset, because at the end of the day, we're gonna be doing things that's what's gonna be best for the kids, and that we're getting these kids where they need to go. I mean, and I think if they can get together with working together with each other about their labeling and, you know, doing some different things like that. Because I do feel like your parents are gonna get upset, because they don't know where they're.
Well, my thing is, I trust our educators, and if those kindergarten educators and their admins say this is the right thing to propose, who are we to be in the way?
I think they have a lot of great ideas. You know, I just wanted to talk about it more, and after talking with teachers and stuff. I do love the staggered start. I think that is a great idea. I think that's.
So with the caveat that school administrators and the kindergarten teachers need to make sure that they communicate as quickly as possible with those group of students and parents, so that they have time to plan. The board's comfortable with this plan for next year.
Oh, yes.
I think the idea, they'll know, I mean, we're gonna bring them in in alphabetical order, so they'll
Yes.
know way ahead who's not gonna be on what day.
Yeah, you should, if they're gonna do alphabetical order, you should be able to.
Yeah, once they decide whether it's the Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, as long as they've got that.
And then is the plan then on Friday to contact these parents?
Correct.
So then those teachers are gonna make a phone call out to the parents to say,
You know, somebody will
Susie's
contact
gonna be in my
you.
class.
Here's who your child's teacher is, looking forward to having them in the class. Come on Monday, we're excited.
And then I'll assume that on Friday, they will
That's
spend the day getting ready, like doing their classrooms, labeling their 150 things that they have to label.
It is a lot to take these
Yeah.
5-year-olds from nothing to all day, 5 days a week. A lot of places do either half-day kindergartens or slow start kindergarten that do 3.
That's,
The plan is A through M is Monday, Wednesday, N through Z will be on Tuesday and Thursday.
Okay.
So they'll know that now.
Excellent.
yeah, they can do that, yeah.
Okay, so we'll tell them that.
Yeah.
And hopefully our local childcare providers will be supportive of this and allow for those students to still come in on their off days, at least for that week. Saying that publicly, I love you childcare providers.
And they'll be able to get like that first week, I'll take some assessments.
Yeah, that's
That's
the plan.
Please.
So they'll be like that week. So they're not good.
That's the plan.
It's been really hard on some of the kindergarten teachers. They felt like this was a necessity just to kind of
I
even
did
out a
hear
little
that.
bit, and, you know, personalities and stuff like that. So the one thing I know is our kindergarten teachers in Giles County are fabulous
Oh, yes.
at all the schools, and they're the most resourceful people in the county,
They have
and they will
to be.
figure it out, and it'll be great.
You know,
It
they
will
have to
be, of course, you know, anytime there's change, people will, you know, have a little issue with it until they see it's better, and then they'll be okay, so.
Well, I think in the long run, because like I said, I do think we've had several that's had.
Everybody wants to know who their teacher is, everybody wants to know, that's an exciting thing, and I get that, but I think in the long run, this will be better for everybody. The parents will be happier, the teachers will, you know, have a better grasp on it, and the kids it'll be better for the kids.
It's a good change.
So we'll communicate that, and we will emphasize, make sure they communicate the dates, Monday, Wednesday, who's gonna be, Tuesday, Thursday, who's gonna be. They may need to adjust it AM, make it AL, just depends on the numbers
Sure.
they see, so. Any other questions?
Thank you for letting me talk about
Certainly. Gun awareness project follow-up, we talked about this before, back in, I think it was November. The group came to speak to the board at a work session. 2 weeks ago, I sent you an email, I received an email back from the group. They have shared with me that they have secured funding. They have sponsored, they've been able to obtain the gun locks as they shared with us back in November. So they're in the process of also getting, talking to the hospital, Korean Hospital, regarding a monetary gift to be spent on educational literature, to accompany the free gun locks. So they wanted to reach back out and see if we were still comfortable, working with them to allow them to distribute the gun locks and the safety educational literature, through the schools. And I wanted to bring that to you all before communicating anything else back to them. I had communicated back to them that the resolutions would not be adopted, so they are aware of that. Did that back when that decision, we had that conversation, so they have been aware of that. But again, I wanted you to know that they reached back out to me about 2 weeks ago with this information.
What we stand on the hunter safety, I didn't talk about, y'all talking about, or about.
I've talked to an individual that's supposed to be getting certified. I haven't talked to him in the last month, but he said once he got certified, he would be willing to come in and teach the class at all the 3 elementary schools.
Looks like if we done, if we allowed them to pass out to do it all at the same time, it'd be a lot better than it looks like. If we're gonna do the hunter safety course, that's time for them to come, do the thing too.
So do they have a plan of like when they wanna do this, or is it?
She didn't give me a plan. My assumption was that they wanted to do this at a back-to-school night type activity.
That's what I was.
But again, we've not gone any further. That's what I was assumed, set up a table and let people come and obtain them if they wanted to, not just hand them out to everybody, be those who wanted to come and get them, was what I was thinking. My assumption that that's what would occur.
Oh, I think it's a good thing, but I think you need to do it in conjunction with the hunter safety stuff at the same time, it might be a whole more bang for your buck.
Hunter safety, you're gonna be dealing with children, they're wanting to
They
give it
want
to
to give it to
parents. The parents aren't really there, they won't be in the school for hunter safety, that would be the students, they have contact with the students. I guess they want to hand it out to the parents that like an after
Oh,
school
I understand that
activity.
too, I understand that.
Yeah, you guys figure out what makes sense, what they're thinking, what we're thinking, and we can weigh in on that once there's.
But you're comfortable with us moving at an open house type activity where they have the ability to set up a table. Now they'll have to make sure they've got enough because the open house is done on the same day, but the 3 schools, they have to have enough representatives to man a table and hand out the educational literature and these to whoever wants them.
I don't think there's no risk to that, there's no hurt. If they wanna come and set up, I don't see why we should block that.
We let there's a lot of stuff that goes on, or a lot of organizations that come by,
Yeah.
open houses.
Yes.
Okay.
In the
I'll
Eastern
communicate
District, the FCA is really doing a great job with hunter safety and hunting activities. They had it this past weekend with the turkey season and stuff. They had a big turnout, doing a lot of things with kids as well. That's an outside organization, but, they're in it is in the Eastern District. They started that, and there was a large turnout for that.
What was the organization?
It's FCA.
Oh, they're FCA Outdoors, yes,
Yeah,
okay.
FCA Outdoors. Yeah, they had a big event, and it was
Yeah, I saw
very
some of that
well
online.
attended.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it'd be for everybody, but that's just where the location was, but there's a lot of kids that attended that.
I'll communicate that back to carry it to Mr. McGrath, and we'll go from there. I'll let you know if I hear anything different. Informational for you, open enrollment information for health insurance went out yesterday. That'll be conducted from April 15th to May 15th for all employees. That's the health insurance, dental, vision. Dental and vision individuals have to purchase that if they want to. We cover up to $550 for any plan that's chosen by the employee. So still have the 5,000 high deductible, 3,000 high deductible, and the $1,000 deductible plans. Those are the three options. So we'll be going through April 15th through May 15th for individuals to make any changes that they need to make for those plans. But again, there's no increase again this year, so that's positive for our employees. Further information, I sent you an email last Friday about an email that we received from DOE from the fact that they were notified by the US DOE that they had to certify compliance with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act and the responsibilities outlined in the court case Students for Fair Admissions versus Harvard. This is to continue receiving federal financial assistance. DOE is responsible to report on the state overall, and they are collecting certification responses from all the local education associations in the state of Virginia, or local education agencies in Virginia. That's all the school divisions. Originally, what I shared with you last week is they had until April 12th to respond to that. So we needed to respond by this Friday, April 11th, signing a certification saying that we don't discriminate on the basis of race, sex, etc., national origin. However, I received an email shortly before about 8:30 this morning, prior to our meeting starting, and they have been given an additional 10 days to submit these requests. So they have until the close of, we have until close of business on April 23rd to submit it. I don't know that why we would wait to submit on anything unless you've got a concern about me signing it and sending it in.
You don't need a board vote resolution on that?
It does not look like I do. It's a reminder of legal obligations undertaken in exchange for receiving federal financial assistance and request for certification under Title VI in that court case. It's just saying that on behalf of Giles County, I'm acknowledging that I've received and reviewed that information. Now, we can say that you're comfortable with me signing off on it. I can get a consensus from you and I'll sign off and I'll send it in. Unless you all have concern with me sending it in. Is there is a consensus there to go ahead and sign it and get it in this week? That way we don't miss the deadline and it slip past us.
Does anybody get to it? Okay. We'll, then if you need if it comes back with any certification, we'll get that meeting before that deadline, so.
That's really the last item that I have for open session. I do know we need to go into closed session because there's some items we need to talk about. Unless you all got something that you want to discuss here, no.
I did pass around, there's a homeschool exemption and there's a request for early kindergarten admission that we'll add to the agenda at the regular board meeting. We've got to approve those, but just so you're aware of that. And anything else we'll talk about where I open?
Yeah, I got one thing, and my intention here is not to jump on anybody or make anybody mad, but there are board meetings, we have public comments that we give these people 4 minutes to talk. And I think, and I know it's hard, whether it's true or what, but if somebody's, like the last one, they got on y'all pretty hard, I understand that. And you wanna respond, but I think we need to let them talk for 4 minutes, and then if you wanna respond, because it just ends up in an argument like it did that night. You know, so I just think we need to let, whether it's true what they're saying or not, just let them talk, and then when they're done, if you wanna respond or something after that, or wait to your comments at the end of the meeting, I think it just looks better on us that we don't, my opinion, that we don't come out and try to, you see what I'm saying?
I understand, but yes, I was out of line.
Well, it's just,
When they're coming out.
Well,
And
it's hard when the former board member
It is.
knows that we cannot comment back and expects,
I agree.
and puts some innuendo out there that's not, frankly, not true,
Yeah.
so,
Right.
but,
I just think if we can hold off, and I know it's hard if they're hungry, I do. But if we just hold off till they get done and let them sit down, and if you wanna comment after that or whatever, I just think it looks better on us if we.
totally, like I said, I apologize to Mr. Wilburn right here for interrupting his comments.
But that's all I had. Like I hope, you know, I don't make anybody mad or anything, but
Well, I was out of line as chair, should've let him speak his turn, ill informed as it may be.
and trust me, we're gonna get more of them, so.
That's all good. We will have a meeting Friday at 11. That will be mostly closed. We'll go into it. It will be closed to discuss the applications. Mr. Williams will not be here, so we need to work with him to get, he can participate electronically. We just need to figure the logistics of that out and maybe need to get. So we'll take care of it. We'll take the appropriate motion at that time. So that would be the only item on the agenda for that. And then look at date, we'll discuss dates that day, try to have calendars ready at that point. With that, Dr. Arbess, assume personnel, is there any other issues that we need?
Personnel and, students.
So this one. I'll entertain a motion to,
We're gonna put those.
okay, all right, sorry.
I was talking to Ms. Walton, yeah, Mayor's High School, did you get with her and tell her about the construction plan you got for it?
Yeah, Mr. Buckman, I communicated, we've exchanged emails, so to speak, Mrs. Bolton and I need to get with her, see
She
exactly.
just concerned didn't want to do anything. She don't want to do anything until we get tore up with the construction.
And we also made the other principals aware that if there's anything that needs to be moved, or they want moved, it needs to be moved prior to June 2nd. And we get the landscaping benches. The only thing, there's 3 trees at Eastern that, we can't move those. I mean, it costs a fortune to move those 3 trees, out front. But we have communicated with the other administrators, if they have anything that they want moved, to let us know. Get with maintenance, figure it out, but I need to specifically get out and talk to Mrs. Maloney and see how I can assist her. We've kind of exchanged emails a little bit.
She didn't heard anything. She asked me what the plans was, and I told in front, I said, I didn't have a clue.
It was shared at the
It was
last
shared.
admin meeting
It was
Yeah.
shared
with all
with
the
the
principals.
administrator.
And I think she probably reached out after, around the same time you had that meeting.
Plus we had our pre-construction meeting at Nares, and both Mrs. Helvey and Mr. Bowles was there as well. Shared it at our admin meeting.
I just want to make sure she knew what was going on.
Yes, sir, we'll take care of it before June
Oh,
2nd.
okay. And the other thing, they was talking was, the county has to go to the road up to Ag Land.
Yes, sir.
So, look good.
Looks nice.
Yeah.
Be thankful.
Hopefully we'll get some paving on it this summer.
Anybody else have anything to discuss in open session before I entertain a motion to go into close? I will entertain a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Virginia Code 3.7-1207A1 and 2.
You got it.
I'll make that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
You got that memorandum, or you?
I was gonna say, are you
or
looking?
read that?
No, I think I got it memorized.